Hey everybody, Jake Nikolopoulos here with episode 6 of Road to the Universe. This episode I wanted to do, it's going to be a freedom of speech episode again. But before I get into that, I just wanted to say, we didn't get an episode out last week. The reason being, obviously, it's been a crazy last couple of weeks with, we had the Arnold Classic in Melbourne. And that was insane. They had a really busy weekend working between BSN and Massive Joe's booth. And it was pretty overwhelming, to tell you the truth, to see how many supporters that Massive Joe's and BSN have. And obviously that gets me, that you guys, Massive Joe's and BSN have given me the audience to be able to reach out to you guys. And I was overwhelmed by how many people actually watch the videos, follow Massive Joe's, follow BSN, and you know, I'm a part of all of that, which was really, really cool. And like I said, I got to put a lot of faces to some of the names that I see online on my Facebook page or on my Instagram, people that are following me. So it's really cool to be able to go to these expos and be able to actually see and meet a lot of these people face to face. Because believe it or not, I know it's just writing words on Instagram or Facebook through your phone or through your computer, but actually being able to see you guys and tell you how much I appreciate the support as well, and how much it helps me in my journey. So I'm happy to be able to give back to people, and I'm more than happy to see that people are responding to the videos and things, and just following my progress in general. It's very motivating for me to have such cool people following me and giving me some awesome feedback. So thank you to everybody that came out and said hi and got a picture and just had a chat. Basically, it was really cool. So yeah, we had that, and then I flew to Adelaide with Flex, Neil Hill and Steve Cook. We did some store appearance for Massive Joe's, got to hang out with all of the gang, and we did some training as well, which was really cool. And we didn't leave the gym till probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, Flex did an interview with Joe, which was really cool. You guys will be able to see soon. And you know, it was just an awesome weekend for me as well, to be surrounded by, you know, Flex, Neil. Well, basically those two guys. You know, Neil's coaching me, so to be able to be close with him and train with him and let him see sort of, you know, what my body does on a daily basis, which was really, really cool. And then to be able to be around Flex was, you know, 3-time 212 Mr. Olympia. The guy's just an awesome ambassador for the sport and for the brand BSN. Like I said, we finished training at probably about 12 o'clock, midnight, and Flex and Joe did an interview. And I just sat down on the ground just listening to him. And just listening to how Flex spoke and how he carries himself was really cool. You know, not only is the guy a champion bodybuilder, but he is an awesome ambassador and he's a great representation of the sport of bodybuilding. And just listening to him speak as well, and how confident he is, the way that he speaks in front of the camera. Like I said, I was blown away by it, and it gave me a really good. Well, I left there very, very motivated, inspired. Let's say, to say the least. So awesome weekend for me. I was like a little kid in a candy shop, and just had a whole lot of fun. So I was on a high for days, and tonight, what is it? It's Tuesday night. Tonight I'm going to see my coach Neil again. He's flown down from. They were in the Gold Coast. They're on the Gold Coast. He's flying to Melbourne tonight. I'm going to go and pick him up in probably about another hour. And then we're going to chill out for a few hours, and then his flight's at about 3 AM in the morning. So we're going to go and eat and talk shit. And then I'll see him off. So, you know, I probably won't see him for a couple of months before I start my my prep for the shows. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. And I just wanted to, today's freedom of speech episode, I wanted to speak to you guys about training methods and training styles, and you know, what's the best way to train. And this is something that personally myself, I always, when I was younger, thought that there was, you know, a secret recipe or a secret formula, a secret training system. There must have been something that I didn't know. But now, with years of experience and years training in the gym, you realize that there is no secret formulas. It all comes down to consistency and hard work, and experimenting with different training styles. So what I've found over the years is, heavy training, 8 to 12 reps, is fantastic. It works, but in terms of longevity and can you keep doing that day in and day out, I've found myself personally, no you can't. Well, I can't. I start to get sore elbows, I start to get sore knees, and I just can't keep that same intensity up all the time. So that's why I used to experiment with high reps. I've tried doing giant sets. So I think giant sets are a really good workout, although because you can't use a lot of weight, well, you can use a lot of weight, but because you're going from exercise to exercise, you're not going to be using obviously as much weight as you would if you were having a 2-minute rest and then doing your 3 sets or 4 sets or anything like that. So I didn't think giant sets were ideal, although I will implement giant sets pre-contest, maybe the last few days, just to really deplete the muscles. Supersets, drop sets, those sorts of things. To be honest, I don't do any. I don't really do a whole lot of supersets and drop sets. I do my week 3s with the Y3T, and that's got some higher reps in there, and I do the week 2s and the week 1s that have got the lower rep ranges. So this is why I found the Y3T training. Don't think that I'm trying to sell you guys Y3T training, because I'm not, but it does make a lot of sense to me, because as I said, if I could train on like a week 1 or week 2 of the Y3T every single day, that would obviously be ideal. But in terms of longevity and joints and how I feel, my body just can't keep that that load on the muscles, and the heavy weights, I just can't keep up with it all the time. So that's why I've really loved implementing the Y3T training. So obviously most of you know what it is now, but the first week I'm doing rep ranges 8 to 12, a lot of compound movements. The second week, still compound movements, but I'll change the rep range between 14, well, anywhere between 12 and 18 really. And then in the third week, it could be anything. Normally between 18 and 22, but it could go anywhere as high as 70 reps on a lot of exercises. So, people might say that that's a stupid thing to do high reps like that. But you got to remember, when you're doing those high reps, you're depleting the whole entire muscle. So you're using those endurance fibers, right up until, if I'm going for a set of like 70, I might be using like endurance type fibers, muscle fibers, all the way up until about 40 reps. And then once it gets really hard at 40, I'll start doing maybe 5 at a time, all the way up to 70. So by that stage, I'm using absolutely everything. I'm using every fiber inside that muscle that I'm working to get that weight up. So I'm definitely still completely taxing the whole entire, every muscle fiber inside that target muscle. So I still do think that it's a great way to train, and you're still going to get the results that you need. And then the week after, be going back to the heavy training again. So I think that the Y3T training is fantastic, and a lot of the Y3T training as well, like when I first got the Y3T training program from Neil, I didn't think that it was a lot of exercises, because I'm a guy that used to train for 2 to 3 hours in the gym. That's no problem for me. I love training in the gym, and I love just doing set after set, doing a lot of volume, and not even just because I love it, it's because that's all I know. Everybody that I've trained with in the past has showed me that that's how I'm supposed to train. But since I got the programs from Neil and saw that the volume was way back from what I'm used to, and the working sets as well, working sets, reps, everything was down from what I would normally do in a whole workout. So when he told me that I'd be doing like 4 exercises for back, I was kind of like, without saying it to his face, so behind his back, I'm thinking, this is crazy, this guy's crazy, this is something that I was doing when I first started training when I was like 16 years old, doing 4 exercises for back. So I thought he was completely crazy, but I was thinking as well, I haven't tried it yet, I've got to give it a go. Like anything, I'm always open-minded, and I'll try it, see if it works, and then move on or move forward, whatever I have to do. So I did train the way that Neil told me to train for months, and I really liked the Y3T training. But then I slowly reverted back to the way that I used to train. I started training for a couple of hours, and I was still getting something out of the workout, but I started to feel like I was a bit more run down. Didn't have enough time in the day to get all my meals in, so I was spending like 3.5 hours training. So anyway, cut a long story short, Neil came down a couple of weeks ago for the Arnold Classic Australia. And we got into the gym and we did a back workout. Now, we did 4 exercises for back. We did wide grip pull downs, we did low pulley cable rows, we did dumbbell bent over dumbbell rows with both hands, dumbbell standing up, and we did a close grip pull down. Now, my back was completely after doing those 4 movements. It felt like I'd be training for 3 hours like I normally would, doing 7 movements. Why? I suppose the reason why is it all had to come down to the mindset. And again, like, these are things that I've always known, but you slowly, like I said, you revert back into your old habits, and you go back to your old ways and you forget what works. But every working set that we did, so we would warm up and then we did about 3 working sets on each of those exercises. So we only did 12 working sets for back and we were done. But I can't tell you guys strongly enough, and I can't even really explain it. It's very hard to be able to speak about the intensity that we used, but you have to gear yourself up for each set as if it's like the last set that that you've ever done. Like, your life depends on that working set. It sounds stupid, but that's the kind of mindset you want to get in when you're doing, like, I compare it to like a Dorian HIT training, high intensity training. It's very similar mindset that you have to get into, but we're not just doing 1 working set, we're doing 3 to 4 working sets. But if you use that mindset that I'm talking about and you use that 100% intensity, you're going to get a lot more out of those 3 sets than you would doing 6 sets, just sort of half-assed, going through the lat pull down, going through the motions. We exploded down, we controlled the negative, and we did that for every rep, and then we did the rest pauses as well. So I'd get to like 8, and then I would stop at the top, then I'd maybe get 2, then I'd get 1, then I'd get 1. We did a week 2 workout, so it was like about 14 to 18 reps. It absolutely killed me. So reflecting on that workout now, looking back at it, that is something that I've changed even just with my workouts now since then. And it's all got to do with that mindset. Now, I've never been a person that would use anger to train. I'm not an angry person, and I have always been against using any sort of rage or anger or getting myself in sort of that negative sort of angry mindset when I train. But I must admit, when training like this and doing high intensity, it's only for 45 minutes to an hour, trying to employ that rage and putting a lot of aggression into the movements definitely made a big difference. It's not as if you're angry, you're just obviously using that, you're controlling it and you're letting it out on those working sets. So definitely helped me get a few more reps and let that intensity go through the roof. And like I said, those 4 exercises, I was completely dead. From top to bottom, my back was wrecked. And that's the only thing different to what I would normally do with training, was just that intensity on those working sets. So, and I've done that since then with biceps, I've done it with chest, I've done it with every other muscle group, and I've been sore for days. So, you have to weigh it up, I suppose. Am I going to would I rather do more damage, maximum muscle damage in a short period of time, or do a lot of volume for like 3 hours? Now, people might say that I'm going to be more prone to injury doing this sort of training. You guys might be right, but the way that I look at it, I get to get into the gym, I warm up thoroughly, I hit my working sets 100%. I put everything into my working sets. I only do like 3 working sets as opposed to 5 on each exercise like I used to do. So I'm in the gym for 45 minutes, I've normally been in the gym for 3 hours. So the way that I look at it is, my joints are probably copping more of a beating in those 3 hours because I'm doing repetitive movements on my joints, whereas for the 45 minutes I'm in here, I hit the rep ranges that I need to do. I do maximum intensity, maximum reps, complete failure on those sets, and then I get the hell out of here and I eat, I recover, and I'm done. You know, so look, it makes sense to me. My mind changes with training all the time. I'm telling you this, guys, now, maybe in another month's time I'll change my mind again, but it does make sense to me. It makes sense to do those working sets, 100% intensity, rather than, you know, around for 5 or 6 or 7 working sets and doing, you know, 10 exercises. If I can get, you know, maximum intensity, and when I say maximum intensity, I was pushing myself mentally so hard that I could probably only keep this training up for 45 minutes to an hour. And then I noticed that my mental alertness, that rage, that anger that I tried to employ, it fizzled out. And you know, and I knew that was enough. Call it quits, rest, recover, get ready for the next day. So, you know, it makes sense to me to train like that. And you know, I'm going to be doing that from now on, so I'll let you guys know if I change my mind anytime soon. But like I said, for now, it makes sense to me. So I'm just going to keep on doing this obviously with the Y3T training, but just using that crazy super intensity, guys. So anybody that comes into my gym and trains with me will let you know about the intensity. Like I said earlier, you can't really explain intensity to people. You can't write that shit on paper. You know, some people have got it in them or they don't. If they can really, you know, let it out and just go for those working sets. So if you're in Melbourne, always hit me up for a workout. You know, I'll show you, and then you can make up your mind for yourself whether you need to do 10 exercises or 3 or 4. So, and that is about it for this episode, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Stay up to date with everything that all the guys at Massive Joe's are doing. And that's it. I'll see you in the next episode for some training.